Hello, welcome to the part 3 of the structural design model every beginners must know. In our previous video, we made mention of the understanding the GA in 30 seconds, right? So if you've not watched that video, please, I urge you to watch that video. And we have the first part 1, the part 2. In the part 1, we cover more of the model. We look at how you can model a residential building and how we got here, how you can import your structural design, and how you can make all the element model appear as shown on the screen. All right. And in the part 2, we look at how we can analyze these structural element, how we can define the rear bar, the reinforcement, and to check or to design the part footing of this same model. So in this part 3, we'll be looking at how we can be able to export this drawing and how we can be able to check our design report. So before we go on to export this particular drawing, we're going to check if all design is or has already passed accurately. So in doing that, we just have to go to display. I'll take my cursor down to display on the menu. If I click on display, I'll now go to visual interrogation section. So when I click on it, it's now going to show me a little box here popping. So we just have to scroll down. We have different slabs, concessions, some material. We have the BIM integrations. We have the loads. So we'll scroll down to design. So in design, we just want to have to check the design steps, right? To check if all the designs we've made already for previous video, if they are all analyzed properly or they are default, alright? So we just click on what? Design status and click on OK. So now when we click on design status, we say OK. You can see now the design status is just like a legend, alright? Design status is just like a legend showing us the various color and what it means. Now, if you look at it, that red color means failed. So in every condition here, that if you see any red color, then you should understand that what? You should understand that particular column has failed. Now, if you see yellow, it means that it's showing you warning. And if you have this amber color, it means that particular drawing has expired or is not up to date. Okay, when you see the green color, it means that they are all okay. That's why you can see all our design here, they are all okay. All right. So when you look at blue color, it says do not design. All right, you do not design. And when you see white, it says not design. So in this case, you can see that everything is showing green apart from the slab. So this slab now, the slab according to this particular section for now, the software programmers, the design, the color, no matter how you design the slab for now, it's going to be showing white color, but the beam and the columns analysis has to show what in green and all the specification. Okay, for now. All right. So you can see both the footing, they are all designed. Okay. So that is by the way. So every analysis here is being completed. So when we see that okay, the design is safe and okay, what do we need to do? We just have to go back to the section where we are going to export it. So by exporting, you can see design, you can see your record. So what you want to do, after getting it back, so we'll go to interrogation and we'll go back to design status. Then we'll scroll up to none. You can see none over here. All right, so click on none. When we say none, we'll click OK. Then it's going to bring it back to the natural color. All right, so when you have the natural color, that is by the way. So move on to the plant and we'll go to from the plant. You can activate. So from here, let's go back to layer. So on layer, we can activate our grid back. Okay, and use grid as the case may be because we want to export it right now. Okay, so in that we'll just go back to design report. So we'll go to design report. You can just click on what export. So this is the export. This is the protadetail. So before we do this protadetail, what we need to do here is just we'll go to what we'll click on report so that we send the report to show how we can look at the report of the design that have been already made, such that if you want to generate, you can generate them. So this is how to generate the report. You go to report, you click on the report, you're going to see the different tags here. So if you click on it, you can have the pre-analysis and the post-analysis. So these two reports are very, very necessary, okay? Because this tells you about the load and how the behavior and the material that have been used in the structure. We have the beam report and we have the column report, we have the slab report, we also have the footing report, okay, for all the analysis. So, but this guides the structure and the behaviors of the structure. So we just have to click on what pre-analysis. So if I click on pre-analysis, it's going to open a new tab over here, okay? Then it's going to show us the various stress and load that have been used, components that have been used. You can see. Now you can look at the pre-analysis. Now pre-analysis, you can see the data, alright? You can see the building data. You can see numbers of story. You can see number of effective stories and numbers of rigidity basement. In this design, we don't have a basement. If we have a double basement, it's going to be identified. If we have a single one, it's going to be identified. So for in this case, I will design none. And you can see now, if you move down to the table, you can see we have story 1, story 2, and story 3. So regardless, in all of this, you can see the story height that we have relatively, just like when we went to do our edit story, when we edit the story, we saw a box like this, which or a box that contains all of this. When you do your edit story, you can see the story height that we use 3,300 millimeter for all the story. That's why you see the levels are adding up here, and you can see the life load factor for this, for the building, is not ascertained. So if you look at the analysis parameter, you can see the analysis type, statics analytics. You can look at the degree of freedom. You can see your torsion, rigidity of the joint, none, concrete code. You can see the BS code that we use, and the parts and different US ANAS. All right, US ANAS, because so in this we are in Nigeria, so we use what the British ANAS. All right, the code in Nigeria. This program does not really specify our local ANAS in Nigeria, so you were using British code. That's why we have all of this specifying the British code and what we've designed, because we have the steel code, we have the wind code, right? So you can see the allowable soil stress that will have 120 initially in the design, and we'll have the soil subgrade reaction coefficients to be what 50,000 kilonewton per meter cube, alright? And the temperatures, different temperatures that we have. Since we have this particular model identified, we assume that this have 0 degree on them, okay? And you can see the combination of the load, different combinations of the load, the lateral, you can see the lateral earth movement. You can see these are all the load by which the program use in bringing out this software, okay, bringing out this design, okay, this design. Because when a particular analysis is being done, the question is what and what was actually done, what was considered in the analysis. It's not by saying analysis was wrong, all right? So after saying analysis was wrong, what was wrong in the analysis, what was checked, what was considered. You can see we have the dead load, we have the life load, and we have the pattern life load 1 and 2, and the roof load, the snow load, and even the rain load. Right? So these are for the vertical load, and the lateral load cases. We have different lateral load cases, the lateral load in the X and in the Y directions, and including in the wind direction. In the wind load, we look at the X and the Y direction, which means we have the direction 1 and direction 2. Regarding temperature load, you can see, so everything here is what is okay. All right, temperature load, so everything we have here, no combined. Sesame case, we're not looking, we didn't look at sesame because of what? Because we're not looking at what having an earthquake in that particular zone. So we're just doing a temporary foundation. But in subsequent, you can see our grade that we use in doing our material. We do our selection material before we run. You can see the different types and the different grade of concrete and the grade of steel, okay, that has been used, all right? And you can see the square area that we used, and you can see the grade of steel, different grade of steel that's available. So these are all the parameters. This has give a sum report of what you've done in the pre-analysis, okay? This tells you more and what they have already considered. That is why the pre-analysis is very, very important when considering your report, okay? And secondly, we will go to the post-analysis. So if you click on the post-analysis, mind you, this pre-analysis have to be there in your work, in your analysis. So in the post-analysis, you can see this talks about the limit state. When you're looking at the limit state, and when you've designed design parameters, if we have in both directions, if they fail by drifting, you can see we have the drifting check and all the stories too. We have the story levels and all of this. Okay, we have the story level, and you will see the relative story drifting, all total height. These are things that have been considered in the post analysis. And in the loading directions, okay, in both directions, consider the structure is safe, the mass of the structure is okay. All right. So if in any situation that this is not adequate, the structure is going to show you a red sign of cross, okay, so that the design is not okay. So this has to do with the post analysis. Has to do with the analysis itself. Okay, the analysis. Why pre-analysis tells you more about what has been done, what was used to do the analysis. Okay, what the model, what's the height of the model, and what do we consider, what forces, what combinations of forces were used to do the model. Okay, and what are the loads, what are the factors considered, the height, the concrete grade, the steel grade, what are those things that are considered. Then after getting that, we now look at, after generating it from our model, what is the out result? That is what the post analysis. All right. So this is the post analysis. So it's going to show you that, okay, the analysis was successful, and in both direction, we do not overcome any relative story drifting in that particular, which means relative story drifting satisfied the limit, okay, the limit state for the program. All right. So that's, by the way, that's good one. So when I move on to the beam, so in getting the beam, let's go back to our model. Okay, if we go back to our model, we just have to locate a particular beam. Let's click on one beam, either story 1 or story 2. So this is story 1. Let's go back to the next floor, the next story. Okay, let's activate story 1. Okay, we are story 0. So we'll locate a beam, we'll right click, and we'll get a particular design. When you do this, it means in the active, when it says see ROC beam detail, ROC beam detail active story, means you want to look at a specific story, okay, the beam for this particular story 1. But when you say ROC beam design, it's going to outline all the design. You can see for story 1, now you can see for story 2, all right, so all story 2, and if you scroll down, you're going to see story 3, all right. But if you do for active story, it's going to show you a particular story. Let's say you want to check only story 1, want to check only story 2, and only story 3. So that is when you use the second option, which says active story. So when you says direct, then it's going to pop up this icon, which means you're going to talk about all of them. So what you need to do, you just have to look at, because we have the different story. If you want to print this out, you can see this is where you have your beam summary. Okay, we have the beam summary report. So just click on the beam summary report. You have the beam summary report on the beam. Now, if you look at what they have, it says what do you want to print. They have different load consideration, just like in the pre-analysis that was considered. So what and what do you want to review? Okay, so we have we have to print the beam load. We want to print the beam shear force diagram. We want to print the moment diagram. Okay, this moment diagram is referred to the bending moment diagram. Okay, these are just the diagram. So if you now look at the summary, now we have the design force summary, we have the beam summary, we have the all the summaries. Okay, we have the shear force design summary, we have the rebar, all right, the rebar on the structure, trying to show you how the structure should look like, and even including the deflection summary. If that's what you want to do, you can just look at that. Okay, and before we do that, okay, before we do that, instead of you printing the whole of this, after you might have done your interactive design, you can check the one that are more critical. Just like if you look at the table here, you can see where we have print. So this print, now you're trying to say it should print all of this. Okay, but if it's going to print all of this, it's going to load a huge file like a textbook. So you don't want to do that. So you can just look at the critical ones and you ask the software to load those critical ones. So this is what you use for your summary report. Okay, these are the ones you want to showcase. So let's cancel this and let's say, okay, let's look at the one that are critical, the longer beam, or for design sake, let's just go direct to generate so that we can see how it's going to display. So it's going to give us, we're going to wait for a while and see what comes out of the design, because it's trying to load. So just wait for it to load. Alright, so you can see here it has finished loading. So you can see different design, right? Different design here in the model. You can see the beam reinforcement design. So you can see beam reinforcement design according to the code specified. It notations what was considered, and you can see in this particular beam load in as is A. Alright, you can see different loads consideration, from the wall load or the wall unit weight. You can see the wall unit weight that we load. Okay, that's why it's very, very important for you to load the wall, the thickness, and you can see the start to end, the total length of the whole situation of the wall. Okay, you can see the wall load here and user definition. So when you look at all of these, the composite materials and what we use, and the slab that's on that plate that was decomposed, you could say S16 decompose to this particular slab. So there are different slabs because how the slab acts in both directions. So a particular slab was decomposed to this particular beam, which means a slab load was distributed to this particular beam. So those slab load that is distributed in this beam was considered, okay? And the gravity specification, direction, the gravity, and we have the G. So we have various points, and we have what the directions you can see for what it was specified. We have the self weight considered, self weight labeled, direction, the self weight, and all the load that was considered, all parameters that you use in designing your structures is outlined here. You can see the design analysis. You can see the shear force identified here. We have the shear force diagram. You can see the shear force diagram of that particular beam. Okay, this beam has a 3 span, and you can see the bending moment as well. You can see the bending shear force diagram and the bending moment as well. You can see this is why we have a higher reinforcement along the tension zone, the top, and we have a higher reinforcement along the bottom here. Have top, bottom. So there is a heavy tendency that when we have a continuous beam, we'll be having a flow chart of stress on the beam in this array. All right. So this becomes more tension, and here will become more tension. This zone become more tension, and here will be tension. All right. So that's why we have this, and the shear force stressing laterally as shown. And you can see the design summary table of the force that was introduced and considered in this particular beam. Because we have different types of beam, okay, and you can see all notes in green, right? So all approved. 2 notes provide minimum shear force safe for safety. Okay, 3 sections, and all of this was identified. You can see all parameters, right, left, and all both 3 span are adequate and satisfied the minimum and measurable consideration. And this is another beam with a different length, okay? So you can see this one has 2 span. This is one with 2 span of it, and you can see the bending moment and shear force diagram. So this is how you keep seeing a lot of the forces and all of that. So that's why it's better. This is another beam. That's why it's better for you to just pick the one that are more critical, so you don't have more of this. Because if you look at what we have here down over here, you can see this is just page 1 of 154 pages. You have 154 pages. That is a whole novel, alright? So we just have to pick the one that are more critical and look at how we can do it. Because in this, when you're providing your analysis, you're going to add your pre-analysis, you're going to have the post-analysis, you have to add the beam report, the slab report, the column report, and the foundation report. By the time you generate all of this and only the beam is about 154, then there should be a dictionary that you are trying to reduce, no longer a beam report, okay? So that's why in this, what you need to do is just to either click on PDF or you can change it to MS Word and save it to what you want. Yeah, much as you save, you can look at anywhere you want to save and you click on save and it's going to save. So in this situation, I don't want to do it. If I want to save it, I can just go by maybe say desktop, click on desktop, and I'm going to do what? Click on save and it's going to save. That's by the way. That's as simple as you want. If you want to do what to save, you want to export it in a photo format or web format, that's by the way, okay? But in this situation, let's just leave it to be the way it is, alright? So we can look at the column report right now. So after this, we're done with the view. So we'll close and we'll look at the column report. So the same thing on the column, we just have to scroll back to the column. So this is the report. After you might have clicked and save it, it's going to take us back to the PDF report. So this is how it's going to be. You can see how transparent it is, okay, and how good it is. And while you're producing your design, you can also set the font size as well, alright? So let's skip this so that we go back to the column. So if you go to the column, what we need to do here, just click on the column and the same procedure. You just want to get the column table report. You can get the column table report, but I don't think it's necessary. So I'll just go to the column wall, column stroke wall design. If I click on that, it's going to show me the same thing, just the same approach when you have interactive design, just like the beam. But in this scenario, you have to come over here to the next tag here saying report. So you click on the report and you're going to see design report over here. You can see we have this. So what do? You click on what? Come over here and click on what? Design report. So if you look at the column report, just click on the design report and it's going to specify what do you want. Just like the column, you specify what the forces, the shear moment, and the shear forces, the moment diagram, and the forces that you want to apply. So the same thing here. Here we'll have a vertical member. This is an axial member, right? It's not like the beam slabs and staircase that are flexural members. So in this condition, we're looking at maybe include all as this condition for the report. You want to include that. You want to include the interactive design for this. So let's say we want to include all of this in this design. So just have to click OK without doing that and wait for it to load. So we can see the column result has already loaded. Just the same thing as the beam column reinforcement design. You can see the column section telling us 4 rebars and telling us the material that was used in this design, even the link, alright, that was used in this design. Okay, so it's going to show you the section, it's going to show us the combination of load and all the masses and the load were considered. Okay, so you can see the entire interaction design. Okay, interaction design here shows us how the moment of bending, if there be any buckling in the column, how it's going to be what design the set it against the what the force against the what magnitude here. Okay, so we look at the load cases, load additional cases, the live load and all this and all the wind, the dead load for the live load and what the live existing for the rain consideration load to addition table whatever was added there. So you can see the shear force that was provided. You can see over here that is okay, and this is the next column and so on and so forth. See the next column and all that. So you just do your primary checking to make sure that everything is okay, because the design was perfectly designed, so it's okay in this section. Okay, so what you just need to do is to just pick the one that are more critical, so you don't have a lot of all these notes. Okay, so that's it. So we'll go out from column because it's the same. We don't want to save the report, but in your situation you can save the report. So we can just go back to the slab in this case. So on the slab, we'll repeat the same process. You just click on it and you right click. So now let's just check on the slab table. You can see slab table as a first. If you still want to print it, it has a layer by which you can still print. Okay, that's if you want to print, you can still print the beam and all of the beam table, the column table, if that is necessary. So you can still repeat that by clicking all of that and you say close. So the same thing, you can right click and do the same process for the slab. So let's just go quickly to the column. So I don't want this video to be long as much as what we have in the recent part 1 and 2. So okay, so what we just need to do, we just have to go to the foundation. So in foundation, you go to the last section of the foundation, the last story, which is story 00. Okay, when you get to story 00, you locate one of the foundation, you just come to it, you click one of the footing and you right click. Okay, when you right click, you can see part footing report. So you click on part footing report. So for you to get this, you have to come and activate this story 00 before clicking this. You right click and you get the footing report. Let us wait for the report to load, and you're going to see the report now. You can see it's loading. Alright, so it has loaded the report telling you design that was used and every material included in the soil stress and all the checking. Okay, all the checking that was made, each of these representing here. Okay, no, because if you look at over here, all the design load from the building analysis was sent down to the foundation. So from the axial load combination, the total axial load has to come to the soil, and it's going to design a footing that will be able to resist the soil pressure. Okay, it's like a counterweight pressure that is going to be what. So you can see the volume of the pad, you can see the unit weight, and you can see the weight of the particular slab. You're going to see the soil and all of that. So you can see the various combination of the stress, centricity, and all of that for that particular column. And in you doing this, you're going to do this one after the other. Okay, one after the other. You can just check the ones that are very critical, like I said in the previous one. Check the ones that are very critical, then you just pick them. If you look at the next one, you can see this one is critical. You just have to add those loads to the analysis. You're going to add them and have all of them. But it's very, very necessary when you are having a foundation design like this. It's very, very important. You have to check all of them. You have to check the foundation, because you have to be sure that all the footing that was provided is capable of resisting the moment, because this is very, very critical. Okay, but on the beam and column, you can just select the most critical one, and slab you can check the ones that are very critical. Look at the shear force, check if they're all okay. If they're all okay, you can see the status. That's what is all okay. So with that, we now say that our design is what okay. So with that, you can just say okay to close. So that's by the way. So that is for the design aspect of it. So after generating all this design, what you need to do is to get a particular file in your maybe your, if you have a Nitro or Adobe PA, PDF, if that is PDF, if you use PDF, or if you use MS Word, whatever you need to do, you just need to combine them in a single file and place them according to how they should be read. Okay, so we're going to have the pre-analysis first, we're going to have the post-analysis following it, then we're now going to have what? We're going to have the slab, we're going to have the beam, we're going to have the columns, we're now going to have the what? The foundation design. Or if you want to put it in the other descending order, we're going to put the pre-analysis, the post-analysis, you're not going to put the foundation, you put the column, you put the beam, and you add the slab whatsoever. That should be the format at which it should be. Okay, so with that, we'll now take us to the what, to the next part of it, whereby we're going to export this, because that is for all for the what, that is for all for the design report. You can still look at the quantity table. You can have the quantity extraction table where you want to check the quantity of maybe formwork or concrete that was made. You can calculate the formwork, the cubic, okay, quantity of cube for the beams, and for the column and the slab. Okay, these are the design tables for them. So these are the cubic units for them. So in all of this, totally this, then you can print the report cubic, because we have a very small structure. So it's telling that in all of this we have, for this particular story, you're going to take about what, 98 cubic, which you can check your calculations and get if that is okay. All right. So with this, you can create close. If you want to add that in the report, you can add. But after that, you just have to go to the detail. Okay, this is the steel, right? We are not designing steel, so we'll be looking at what, we'll not be looking at that for now. So we just click on what, detail. So once you're done with all of this, you click on save, wait for it to save, then you just go back to click on what, protadetail. But if you didn't click on save, if you just click on protadetail, it's going to what, save the drawing automatically for you before taking it down to the protadetail. So just wait for the protadetail to load. It's going to take a while. So it's going to load and take us out of this protal design interface, and it's not going to take us to the protal detail interface, because mind you, in protal structure we have the protal design, we have the protal model, we have the protal detail, and we have the steel. So the protal detail model is like the concrete version, whereby you can model the concrete, you can model the steel version of it, but you can still take the steel to run the analysis in the steel, protal steel. The why the detail, you bring out, extract the details that was made down to the protal detail. So this is how the protal detail interface look like. So what you just need to see, you can see, just like you can see the title bar here saying what, bearing the project title that will exported down to the protal detail, and we'll have the various menu here, and we'll have various tools that will be used. Okay, then if you look at here now, how do we proceed? All right, this is the project title, just like the project code. All right, so here now we just have to look at what the next one we're going to look at. We have auto generate detail whatever manager. We don't want to do that. We have the quick start guide if you want to know how you're going to use this, and the documentary. We don't need to bother ourselves, because this is a tutorial and it's a complete package where you have understanding. Okay, and if you've watched this video up to this extent and you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Do well to subscribe, because that is going to enable us and encourage us to do more video. And if there's any other video that you want us to share, more ideas you want us to look into, then feel free to comment and give us a comment. All right, please like. I want us to push this like to 100 like. If you give us 100 likes, we'll be so happy. All right, so let's get back to the video. So by doing that, what you just need to do is just to click on what, start by creating a new drawing. So just click new drawing. So when you click a new drawing, it's going to take you down to this interface. So having you in this interface, this is like a drawing area. If you look at this very well, this particular interface works like a normal AutoCAD, okay? It has some AutoCAD feature. If you're very, very familiar with AutoCAD, it has a lot of AutoCAD information where you can see the polar, you can see the auto making your alignment straight, your design straight, and if you activate the auto, it's going to make it rotate or whatever. You can see the line weight, O snap, and all the tools that we have here, the erase and all of them. You can still navigate them, how to do your text, and basic AutoCAD tools have is programmed here, okay? But what we need to do here now, we want to look at several interfaces. Look at the drawing detail manager. We'll not be looking at that. This is where you export, okay? You're exporting from from this DSF, which is the total structure, down to DWG, which is the AutoCAD version, because we want to export it down to AutoCAD version so that we can carry out some basic work, okay? But you can still do some basic design here, okay, because of the tools that you have already. But I prefer we export it down to AutoCAD. So now, if you look at the form, the first icon we have here, we have the form plan. This form plan now is the plan of the build, okay, the plan of the structure. We look at the foundation plan, right? The part plan, the first floor, the second floor, and the third floor. This is all about the plan, okay? Then this is the column. This is the column attribute. Look at how you get the column plans. And now and this one now is the column schedule table. Alright, and we have the beams and we have the part. So let's go to the first one. We'll click on the plan, then you right click. When you click on it, you right click on that particular area. You don't click here and you right click here, okay? Just click on this particular one, the one you want to activate, and you right click. Then you click on it. So when you click on it, it's going to show you another option, okay, telling you what are the type of plan you want to use. These are the plan, which one did you want to actually showcase. In this situation, we want to show both story 0 down to story 3, okay? Now in this area, now you can look at what we have here. This is the scale that is going to be what insert. Now if you want you to insert a sheet, this product structure has a particular default template which is going to be using, but I don't want to use that, okay? And different options here that if you want, you can consider it. But what we just need to do is to click on draw. So when we click on draw, that's activate. So we just need to click anywhere in this interface, and it's going to start from that point and it will reduce down to every other area here. Like you can see, we have the from story 0 to story 1, story 2, story 3. These are all the plan with the various table sheet, telling us the materials and the grade of concrete that was used in this particular design. So that's for the plan. So we'll go to the next one. We'll have the column. Just want to show you how what the columns look like. You can see in the column now, we're not going to see story 0, 0, just for story 1 and that one. So click on draw. So let's click down to see what we have over here. It's going to give us this column. You can see these are the column model, showing you how the column sections are, okay, and the reinforcement, the link, and the size of it, the hooks that will be provided. These are just for the plan, okay. That's what it's going to provide, and it's still going to provide the schedule table. That's one good thing about it, showing you the schedule table and the quantity of the schedule table, represented here, and as well as the grade of concrete and grade of steel that was used in this particular design. So we'll go to the next one. We'll click on the schedule table. I love using the schedule table. You can see we have draw, column, elevation, and schedule table. The elevation talks about, how a normal elevation, come over here, gives us the various elevations of the column, showing us how the starter bar and how it should look like. Don't forget, this is just a section, the plan section, and this is how the elevation is going to look like. Okay, this is how the elevation is going to look like from the starter bar down to this. So whichever suits you right is okay. So let's go to the schedule table. Schedule table shows you how many of these we have, all in simple. So it shows you if you want to do a quick count of the different types of columns. So here it's just very, very easy for you to look at all of this. You can easily count this without you knowing the numerous patterns in which they follow. So it's very, very simple for you to just follow to know the numbers of column and how they behave and how they place in different segments. So it's very, very fast. I love using this to draw my column detail. Alright. So the next one is the beam. So when you go to the beam, we'll click on this. So on the beam, I don't want to add, we don't have a beam on the story 00, and then beam, I don't want to add this. First of all, let me just add so that we'll see the difference. So if I click on draw and I come over here and I click on the beam, just take a look at what we are going to have. We're going to have the story 1, story 2, and story 3 beam adding itself together. Okay, so you have to come and start separating them one after the other. Separating story 1, story 2, story 3 from story 2. You can see what we have. Just wait for a minute. You can see what I mean. You can see this is B1, story 1. They are all added together. You come over here, you have B2. So you can come over here and separate them. But in most cases, what I love doing, there are some other versions of Prota structure by which you see this is well arranged. This is because this is a recent, this is Prota structure 2024. Look at the arrangement. You can see from story 1, it shows you where story 1 ends. So you can see from here now, you can divide, you can cut from here, you can separate from here up. This is story 1, and the same thing from story 2 start here. But as some other software, there's going to add story 1 to story 2, story 3. You can come over here and see story 1, here story 2, story 3, story 1, story 2, just jump pack. So that's why I love taking it individual. So you just come, untick the one you want to put, and this is story 1 is what I want to create. So I'll just click on draw, and I'll click here, and I'll get story 1. I'll do the same process with story 2, and I'll do the same process with story 3. So it's going to load only story 1. Then I know that is story 1. Then I come over again, repeat the same process. I'll untick this, and untick the next one, knowing that I want story 2 to be outlined, to be drawn. So I'll come over here, I'll click the same thing, and I'll wait for story 2 to draw itself. So waiting for it to draw. You can see this is story 2, and I'll repeat the same process with story 3. So now I'm going to untick one, this and this. I'm going to say draw. So when I say draw, I'm going to click that part. So I'm going to have a separate beam without me get confused. Because when you are arranging your beam, when it's confused like this, you might, if you're not careful enough, you might pick the wrong beam. Okay, so you separating it like this will give you an accurate job. Okay, give an accurate job. Okay, so we are done with that. So the next thing, we're just going to click on the powered foundation, and you want to draw one after the other, you're free. But I want to, in my case, I just want to draw all of them at once. So we don't need to check more time, because this is very simple to trace. Okay, very simple to trace. You can come here and trace the different design. Okay, you can see where we have from our design, where we have the double, where we have the multiple columns. This, in the multiple column, you're going to see we have top and bottom reinforcement, and where we have a single, we design it with what we design with a single reinforcement. That's why you see at the bottom. And for the double, we have what top and bottom reinforcement, different from this. Okay, so all the area where we have double column, we have what top and bottom reinforcement for those ones. So don't get confused. See, we have top and bottom for it. That's why we see this. You can see the analysis, and you can see the bare schedule table, and the design table that was specified for this particular analysis. So you can see this is how you can generate, you can export your model from the Prota structure model down to the Prota detail model. Alright. So, and after this, you can now click on export. Don't mind you, the slab, if you want to get your slab, you're going to get your slab from this same section. Okay, this same section. Mind you, in this video, we didn't consider the strip. Alright, but other video, please follow us for more video, because we'll be explaining more about the strip, and we'll be doing more about flat slab. Then you understand more about what we're doing. So in that, you can just come to section. If you come over here in this tools, you can see plan section. If you click on plan section, you wait for it to load. It's going to show you if you want to show dimension. You click on it. you want to show the rebar, every other one you want here, very possible. Say, look at where do you want to cut the section. Let's say I want to cut my section over here, so I can just come over here and click. If I click, I'm going to press auto here. Here I don't need to go and press control, okay, because this is like kind of AutoCAD interface. So if I click on auto, it's going to make sure the line is straight. So I'll click here, and when I click, then I can just move up and I position it there. So you can see, because we have void over here. So the same thing, if I want to cut a section here, I can click over here, take it down, boom, and that is, here we go. The same thing, if I want to click, I come over here, I click on this section, I go down, and here we go. You can see, you can do the same thing to all of it, okay? You can do the same thing to all of that. So we can take that. So that's for the section of the slab. So we can use the same beam plan, same plan to do our slab detail, alright? So after doing that, if you want to import, what do? You just come over here and click on this import. So just click on it, you right click and you see what? Export, sorry. You want to export, you click on it and you right click and you see export. Then you click on this particular export. So when you see that, it's going to show you drawing 1. Okay, because this is how it is programmed. Most times you see drawing 1, drawing 2, that if you are using the same drawing interface to export multiple drawing, or if there's additional drawing that you've done, it's going to come over here. You're going to see, tell you to specify the version of AutoCAD that you want. So depending on the version of AutoCAD you're using, please don't take a higher one. Let's say for my brothers that are using a lower version of AutoCAD, let's say you're using AutoCAD 2007, don't export with AutoCAD 2010, because you know the implication that if you're using AutoCAD 2010, AutoCAD 2007, and you're exporting with 10, 7 cannot open 10, alright? But if you export with 7, 10 can open 7, alright? So in my own situation, I'm using AutoCAD 2024, so anyone here is better for me. It's okay, alright? That's the advantage of using a recent software. So with that regard, look at all this directory. We don't need to touch any of this. We just have to click on what? Export. If I click on export, you're going to see how it's going to take us down to AutoCAD from the protadetail. You can see it's loading. It's loading, so we'll just wait. So we've come to the end of the part 3 of this video. Please, I want you to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. We want a kind of 100 like. We'll be so happy and grateful that you support us to get 100 likes in this particular video, and you subscribe to our channel, alright? And leave us with a comment, the kind of video you want to see, and maybe your experience you want to share with us. We'll be so happy to have you around. So let's click on this particular AutoCAD version. So what we just need to do here, we click on this AutoCAD template here, and we double click on it. So if you double click on it, it's going to take you down to the AutoCAD template here. It's going to give us the AutoCAD. So it's going to input the files into the AutoCAD. It's going to load this particular drawing that will just export down to the file. So we're going to look at how it goes in the AutoCAD. So let's increase it. So if you look at this, let's change the color so I can be able to view it very well. Okay, I'll go to display and I'll change color. So if I change color, I'll change from black to maybe white color, then apply, and okay. Okay, so now you can see our design, everything that we export, they're all here. Alright, this is the section that we've just done, and this is your AutoCAD, basic AutoCAD, which you can start your drawing properly. Okay, we have a template titled Autocad template. So if you want that template, feel free to send me a message, then I'm going to look at how to reach out to you in that template. I have other templates by which is going to serve as a guide. Mind you, this Autocad template and the STADAS template is just a template that enables you or helps you have a proper detail of this, because in detailing you're trying to do a proper presentation of that particular plan, okay, such that it is very, very plain and understandable to the artisans on site, or alright, the artisans on site while executing the building tasks. Okay, that is the handwork of the detail. So we have a template by which if you send all of these into it, it's going to transmit and change the context of this plan to a favorable and desired one that will suit you well, that is we've used over the years. Okay, so that is all for this video. So we so appreciate you. Please follow us for more video, and thanks for now.